blame Owen for that. He's a Salford fan, but they live in Sheffield. So Lucy going to her first match of Hull against Sheffield felt, apt. And it was sort of 20 minutes in. Joshua was complaining about how thirsty he was because it was a really hot day.
What were they like, eh?
Yeah, can't remember.
That spring we had.
Of sunshine. So I took Lucy for a walk to go and buy some drinks and buy Grandad some chips because he hadn't had any lunch before leaving.
And there he was, Andre Savelio, bundles over for a try, and old John Scott is there munching away.
Yeah, but I must say, Joshua had the try time sweets, which we don't do every match now because he's getting a bit older. But for Lucy, he decided that it was necessary.
Sure he did.
And she hadn't worked out that she only got them when we scored a try, because at one point they were coming thick and fast, and then we had a little break, and she was a little bit confused about when she'd get her next one. But we did actually run out of sweets that day.
Oh, well, there you go. But she enjoyed it, her first experience at, 5 years old, so her first time on the terraces.
Yeah, and it's great to, be able to be on the terraces where she can move about a bit freer and everything.
And because it's a small, compact ground, you were very close to the action when some of the tries were getting scored, so you got to kind of celebrate with the players almost, which would have made it more special for her. Yeah, she
got a few waves from prop forwards after tries had been scored, so she enjoyed that. And then plenty of photos at the end.
Great stuff. Hopefully that's going to get her hooked for life now. So if anyone's got any ideas or experiences around ticketing initiatives and things like that, their clubs, feel free to drop us an email or a tweet or something about that, and we can talk about that next week. If anyone wants to tell us about their first experiences at games or taking their kids to their first games, that's another interesting topic that we'd love people's feedbacks on. So do you want to tell people how they can get in touch and get involved with the show, Scoots?
Yes. So you can contact us on Twitter. We're at Super League Pod, and also on Instagram. Or we're on Facebook.com/Super League Pod, or you can email superleaguepod@gmail.com. But if you want to go to superleaguepod.com, you can get the info and all the episode info and all the links, and we'll post our social media stuff there as well.
Yep, good stuff. Okie dokes, let's move into the Super League match reviews. We get to get out the way early doors, Sarah. Super League Round 7 kicked off on Thursday night with Wigan versus Hull FC. Played at Wigan. It was actually 12-6 to the visitors at half-time, but Wigan came back to win 19 points to 18 in front of 9,581 on a Thursday night. A little bit disappointing, but the weather probably put some people off. Robert Hicks was the referee. In terms of the stat stories, team stats, Wigan made 101 more metres and an extra break, plus they had a 2.3% better team tackle success rate. Hull FC made 2 more errors and conceded 2 more penalties, so on balance Wigan won all of the stats really, but not by miles. What about individually?
Yeah, so individually for Wigan, Ethan Havard scored 1 try, made 44 tackles and 114 metres. Liam Farrell made 177 metres. Jai Field with 2 tries, 7 tackle busts, 159 metres and 2 clean breaks. Individually for Hull, Danny Houghton with 1 try, 65 tackles, 14 marker tackles. Andre Savelio with 40 tackles and 11 of them were marker tackles, and he didn't miss any. Josh Griffin with 1 try assist, 154 metres, and Adam Swift with 1 try, 5 tackle busts and 116 metres.
Good stuff. Some big numbers there from some big names. Into the fan views, always in our shadow says, who the hell selects these Thursday matches? Half a day off work to get there, 2 diversions to get home at 1:45am, ready for a 7am start, stuck in the corner of the ground with a bloody awful view. Well, that's what you've been doing to away teams for a while, guys. The rugby was good in patches, although Hicks' refusal to pull up the pies up in their 20 made it hard for FC to maintain their attack, unlike Wigan's second try on back of a penalty, followed by, I think he means a 6 again, 3 headshots and knock-ons ignored. Well, the penalties were given for the headshots, were they not?
Possibly. Barney at Baton Hall Blue said, missing Tommy Luluai disrupted the defence, which meant the guys had to work and think more. As a result, after a good start, Wigan looked a bit slow in attack. Thought the game had gone, but the lads dug deep and Harry Smith came up trumps with the drop near the end. Great defence by Wigan after that to hold on top of the league for a couple of days.
Yeah, one day. Callum Person99 said, it was a fantastic start for Wigan, but unfortunately we dropped off, or FC picked it up. Smith unfortunately not good enough throughout the game, but hopefully due to inexperience, unfortunately, but he has got the potential, although a great drop goal. Field outstanding again. Farrell showing he is a senior and experienced player. Hull were unlucky. I thought Jake Connor again was the main output for Hull, but I think the errors he made weren't all his fault. I think it was because a lot of the other players not being up to his standard and being able to read what he's going to do. Hull were unlucky. Anyway, it does matter because I was absolutely legless by half time. We've got the quarters next week. 15-minute away day for me.
David at Pen Hits Paper said, what a difference a season makes. Although the Warriors have yet to impress this season, one defeat in 7 Super League games and a Challenge Cup quarter-final coming up, there's a sense of optimism around the DW with Jay Field starring on a weekly basis and Bevan French making his long-awaited return. Wigan are winning ugly again, defending resiliently and finding ways to win. It's not pretty, but it's a solid foundation.
Esther said, we weren't good at the start, but we got better and was winning twice. Field too fast for us to catch, but he didn't want to stop Big Chris.
Jen Kay said, a night of high drama at the DEW. I expected this game to be close and knew they'd give us a tough test. Their attacking play was good and they were hard to pin down when tackled. Everyone around us thought Smith had fluffed the second drop goal attempt until we saw the reaction from the South Stand. Great win.
Joshua's granddad said, proper attritional rugby, both teams struggling to get any quality possession in the opposite half. Surprisingly, we went in 12-6 up. Joe Love-Me-Do setting up 2 tries, cancelled out by 2 Fields running efforts. At 18 all, became a drop goal lottery with Smith having the golden ticket. How did Hicks miss the knock-on under the sticks? ?
Carsten said, a good and close game where Wigan didn't use their chances in the first half, but FC did. The second half saw a better Wigan side, but the Snake, with some of the usual stuff and Gale not in full form, did it for FC. Partington really needs to work on his tackle technique because 3 high tackles are way too much for one game.
Matt Speakman said, 2 evenly matched teams in that second, third, fourth group that I think will stay together. Hull have definitely improved and created go forward, but they didn't have a player like Field on their team. Ref had weird spells where he gave everything to them and then everything to us, so it probably evened out eventually. Pretty good game in all, and I was very, very impressed with Lavadua. Will he really get dropped next week?
Mint Cake's Whistle said, Mum wasn't happy. He says I'm not on screen enough with a flag, but I was there to help Bobby Hicks. He did okay, but not as good as I would. Thought it was nice when Connor showed Ollie P his new boots. Thought Bobby was kind counting up to 3 for Ollie. I always pull a card out quicker than that, and even I saw the knock-on. 7 out of 10, Bobby.
This knock-on that all the Hull fans are mentioning, because Mint Cake's Whistle is a Hull fan. We've been able to decipher that before, haven't we, from his reviews? Is it the one where Cade Cuss knocked on when he was chasing that kick through, and the ball bounced between Swift and Connor, and then Wigan knocked on? I thought Cuss knocked on, but the decision went the other way with a knock on somewhere else in the play from Hull, I think. I don't think anything came immediately from it on the next play or anything, but I think it's that one, isn't it, that you're all talking about? I
think so. Do you know something? I feel like it's such a long time ago since the game. I guess the issue is, if the knock-on had been given against Cuss, then we're, 5 metres out under the sticks, aren't we?
No, it was at your end, so it's a scrum. It would have been a scrum 10 metres out from the sticks with you having the ball rather than us having the ball. That's the only one I can think of that I saw in the game that I thought, ooh, that's wrong.
Maybe,
other than 26 against, that could have gone one way or another, but that's another point.
Yeah, probably. Do you know something? I can remember, because I was watching it on telly, given the fact that it was a Thursday night and everything else. Joshua and I didn't go, because I physically can't cope with being up that late and then having to get up the next day. And I can picture where it was, but yeah, possibly. And I can picture it
Yeah.
It was the one where Hicks was stood right next to it.
Yeah, that was the only one I could think of when I read all of these Hull fan comments about a knock on. That's the only one I could think of. Yeah. Anyway, who's next?
You.
Pop the Viking said, a great game for the neutral. Either team could have won this with minutes to go. Unfortunately, from Hull, a great run from Farrell put Wigan in great position for Smith to pop over the drop goal. Wigan will be relieved, whilst Hull will be disappointed.
Tom Andrews said, a prime example of why Snakeboy will be nowhere near the World Cup team. 2 stupid flip passes at a clutch time and then just glaring at his teammates. Then being a prat trying to kid the ref that the drop goal didn't go over.
That was pathetic.
In other news, Field is so good and surely NRL teams have eyes on him.
White Pie said, well, the Jake Connor show rolled into Wigan and it turns out there's not much to see. He was totally outclassed by his opposite number, including being skinned for Field's second try. Quite how he wasn't at least sin-binned for his best Karate Kid impression baffles me, and Partington's frustration as a result contributed to Hull's first try. All in all, a good even contest with a streaky drop goal to win it. Good to see Bevan back, but worrying injuries for Isa and Marshall. Smithies and Havard were outstanding again, and with Tommy back next week, we head to Bellevue in buoyant mood. Can I just start on that Jake Connor point? Because I'm going to disagree with Lee here, but I'm going to slightly agree with Tom. I think Jake Connor throughout the match is just a player. I'd pay to go and watch Jake Connor play in a game that my team weren't playing in, to watch all the stuff that he does. Not just the good stuff that he does, but sometimes the shit stuff or the stupid stuff or every part of the package, because it just isn't boring. And I do think Field was better than him in this game overall, but Connor wasn't boring or bad, even though he had some bad moments.
Yeah, what was interesting, I mean, you've probably watched the Sky match back again, but the commentators having a disagreement because they were saying, Hull have done really well to keep Field quiet, and then the other one said, no, both teams have done well to keep the opposition full-back quiet. And whoever it was, it then said, yes, but Jake Connor doesn't offer anything in his own 20, whereas Field does. And I think that is a massive thing. Field is dangerous by having the ball in his hand.
Yeah, like anywhere, yeah.
Just as an individual, Connor's dangerous for what he'll do in putting someone else into a gap.
Yeah, and I do think Connor's defence is as much a reason as like the discipline and attitude stuff we've talked about for why he isn't in the England squad, because this isn't the first time this year that he's made a big one-on-one miss, the one on Field. So, there was the one on Eden, wasn't there, in the game at Cass as well, that kind of stands out in my memory. So yeah, but then, flip it the other end of the field, he did have a match-winning performance. You did try to be really physical with him, and similar to what Salford tried to do the week before, but he stood up to that really well. In the Salford game, he made a couple of mistakes. He didn't make any mistakes catching the ball, no matter how much pressure you were putting on him, how much you were flying out the line to hit him. He just got back up straight away, and he still had it in him with 15 minutes to go in the game to skin Lovadua and Connor and score that great try.
Yeah, no, he did.
I thought we were really evenly matched sides, and I think the difference between us and you is composure and consistency at big moments, and I think that can be spelled out by, because when you look at the table, I think we've only scored 1 or 2 points more than you and conceded 1 or 2 points less than you, but we've won 6 games and you've won 4 games, sorry. So I think it's... But on this performance, very close sides. There was periods where our forwards were on top. Havard was fantastic. Byrne started the game well. There was periods where your forwards were on top. Satai had a couple of really strong runs when he came back on in the second half. Sal started the game well. It just ebbed and flowed a bit to me.
Yeah, I thought we started for the first 2 minutes, we started strong. Then we conceded a penalty, and from that point on, it felt like we barely touched the ball for about